All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And, I'm currently out and about, but I just wanted to do a little, may I say, commentary, for lack of better words, on, these guys out here, teaching that we're living under the new covenant today. And basically, what sparked my interest in this is, of course, I had, a few days back, I had the group that calls himself, Tried and Refined, right? Tried and Refined. You can look them up on YouTube. But they joined the show and we had a good debate. Well, I mean, they didn't know what the hell they're talking about, the brothers, but I will give them this. The brothers were very respectable. I will give them that, right? I'll give the brothers that. They were very respectable. And I hope that they do come back again, for a future discussion, right? That'll be a good thing. And then I was also listening to, them doing a live stream on one of their channels yesterday, and even Mind of God joined the show, so I was watching and I was listening. But then the topic of the new covenant came up, and they believe that, that we're under the new covenant today. And my, my response to that would be, is we can't be under the new covenant. Why? Because if you can read it yourself. As I said, I'm out and about, so I'll quote them. You can read Hebrews, the 8th chapter, and Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 on down, right? Start from there, read on down, go to Hebrews chapter 8, just read the whole chapter in Hebrews 8 so you can get a proper understanding, because they're on there saying, oh, no, you got to stay in the context. You got to stay in the context, right? Which I mean, on certain times, that's good to stay in context. I'll give an example. Isaiah the 13th chapter, Isaiah the 14th chapter, Isaiah the 60th chapter, right? Which I mean, it's of course good to get the whole, context of what things are talking about, of course. But with that being said, it is true that the scriptures say in Isaiah chapter 28, verse 10, that precept has to be upon precept, right? Here a little and there a little. That's how you properly understand what the scriptures are talking about. I'll give an example. Somebody might bring up John 3:16, right, the most popular verse out there, and say, well, see, it says the whole world. But then you can cut that by going back to the Old Testament and going to Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. Okay, it says what? That Israel is a world of its own. So see, you got to go line upon line, here a little and there a little, to get a proper understanding. Okay? But going back to what I was saying, is if you read these chapters I mentioned about the new covenant, they basically say what? That in the new covenant, that no man will teach his neighbor about the Lord, but they will all know the Lord, from the least of them unto the greatest. So that's a cut to begin with. I mean, hell, half of our people, man, hey, look, these so-called, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, right, God's chosen people, the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, they're not out here seeking the Lord, man. No, they're out here trying to, chase that bag, man. That's what our people out here doing. So how the hell could we be under the new covenant if it said that, excuse background noise, excuse that. But how the hell could we be under the new covenant if it literally says that they shall all know the Lord, the least of them unto the greatest? So that clearly hasn't happened yet. And then they bring up something about, well, Christ established a new covenant when he shed his blood on the cross. Well, that's not necessarily true. You go to Hebrews 8 and read down, I believe it's the last few verses of the chapter. It mentions what? That the old covenant, which is what we're under, it's beginning to wax old. Or let me phrase myself, it's waxing old and is beginning to pass away. Key word was beginning. It doesn't mean it has passed away yet, but it's beginning to pass away. And wait a second, that was written after the crucifixion of Christ. But it said what? It's beginning to pass away. It hasn't passed away yet. It's beginning to. And remember, this was after the crucifixion of Christ. So how is it beginning to pass away if when Christ shed his blood on the cross, that means that we now entered into the new covenant. How the hell could that make sense if the verse says that the old, covenant is waxing old and is beginning to pass away? So it's clear it hasn't happened yet. When it's going to happen is when Christ returns and sets up, Israelites in their own land. That's when the new covenant will be fulfilled, but it certainly has not been fulfilled as of this current day and time. I mean, hell, man, look at our people, man. Look at the condition our people are in. Hell, man, it's, not a day that goes by without our people, doing damn drive-by shootings, man. Right? You know what I'm saying? So how the hell could the least up to the greatest know the Lord if we're in the new covenant? It just doesn't make any sense. But that's what these guys are doing, man. And hell, these are the guys out there that tell you that that missiles ain't in the Bible, right? That they're on there saying that that UFOs are not in the Bible, which clearly isn't true, right? So those guys are waxing, worse and worse, man. But the sad part about it is, you have sincere brothers who are trying to, learn, who are actually subscribing, to those, these weird doctrines, man. Okay, so, that's why you have to be diligent, man. Okay, because you have a lot of guys out here, man, that are leading people astray, and it doesn't mean that they're deliberately trying to do that. They're just, they're just playing their lot. That's all you got to say, man. Whereas Mighty God would say, right, they're actors, right? They're all actors. Inside joke. But then the other part I wanted to focus on is it said that that they shall all know the laws on their inward parts. And how many laws are there? There's 613 commandments in the scriptures. There's not only 10 commandments. That's what a lot of these cats are on there saying. Somebody was on, I believe, bear with me a second, I believe it was Mighty God's channel when he was doing a stream yesterday. Somebody was in the comment section saying, just follow the 10 commandments and you'll be good. It's like, well, wait a second, there can't only be 10 commandments. Then what they do is say, well, the 10 commandments are a summary of the whole law, so you only got to keep the 10. Well, that can't be true. I agree, there's 10 main commandments, and they are kind of like a summary. They're kind of like a summary. I would agree to that. But here's the problem with that. There's certain laws that are not mentioned in the 10 commandments. So does that mean there's, like 15 commandments, 20 commandments? The answer to it is very simple. That there's clearly more laws that you have to follow other than just 10 commandments. I'll give an example of 2 things that are not mentioned in 10 commandments that you still have to follow. In the 10 commandments, it doesn't say that, bear with me a second here. Yeah, it doesn't say in the the 10 commandments, excuse my stutter. It doesn't say to kill, men who sleep with other men. But that's in the Bible, though. That's Leviticus 20:13. The Lord doesn't change. What is that? If you go to, what is that, Hebrews 13:8? Right, I, the Lord, I was the same yesterday, today, and forever. Right? I'll quote that again, Hebrews 13:8. I, the Lord, was the same yesterday, today, and forever. Right, so the Lord doesn't change. All right, the Lord does not change. So that cuts these guys, because it doesn't mention in the 10 commandments, it doesn't mention that you're supposed to, what's the word I'm looking for? I got to watch the words I use on here. But it doesn't say to do that to those people who commit that type of sin. It doesn't say that in the 10 commandments. So does that now not apply today? And what about this? In the 10 commandments, it doesn't speak about eating, unclean foods. So does that now mean that we're allowed to eat unclean foods today? Because it doesn't mention in the 10 commandments that you can't eat these types of food. And you can read Leviticus, the 11th chapter, to know about those. But those are not in the 10 commandments. So guys out there teaching that we only have to obey 10 commandments, well, you're clearly in error then. Because by that logic, going by the 2 points that I pointed out, that must mean that those are no longer sins then. Because what is sin? 1 John 3:4, for sin is the transgression of the law. So, if there's only 10 commandments that need to be followed in today's time, well then, men dealing with men, that can't be a sin by logic, according to these guys who teach that, you only have to follow the 10 Commandments, because it doesn't say in the 10 Commandments that activity is a sin. It doesn't say that. So, I mean, whatever way you look at it, they're clearly cut. They're clearly disproven. That's nonsense, man, to be teaching that. But that's what these guys are doing, man. I mean, hell, it's too late in the game, to be doing this. Oh, and I found a good precept the other day when I was reading. I believe, what is that? First John, chapter 2. It started at verse 3. Or as Mind of God would say, right, verse 3, right, verse 3, F-R-E-E, inside joke. So start at verse 3 and read on down, right, First John chapter 2, verse 3. And what does it say? It says what? That, I'm nearly paraphrasing it, but it says what? That those who know the Lord, that they can't sin. All right, they have to follow the commandments, right? Those that love the Lord follow the commandments. You'll have to read it yourself to know what I'm talking about. But that's a good verse. In fact, it's one of the only verses I have in the Bible that I highlighted in purple. It was such a good verse I found when I was reading. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to, highlight this in purple, because that was such a profound verse. Because these Christians teach they don't have to follow the commandments of God today, right? The laws of God. They teach you don't have to follow them. Well, certain congregations teach you do. So I should make that disclaimer, of course. But there's certain ones like the Catholics. I mean, hell, man, you can't have a Catholic get together without somebody bringing that swine's flesh, man. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, man, it just shows you, man, that these, whorehouses, which that's what these churches are. It doesn't mean that they're that great whore, right? Babylon the Great. Just like ITR was trying to say, no, the great whore in Revelation 17, that's talking about America. Okay, but these Catholic churches, they're teaching people the wrong way, man. Right? They're teaching an Antichrist doctrine. Oh, and by the way, according to the scriptures, you can go to the book of First John, verse 18 and verse 22, I believe. Speak about what? That he that believes not, he is an Antichrist. So that cuts these guys like Ridge Napper, or in Flat Earth Boxer, who teach that that there isn't one Antichrist and that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. These guys are out of their mind, man. And I like Ridge. That brother's cool, but Flat Earth Boxer, he's scared of me. He don't want to talk with me. I ask him, hey, man, it's like, do you mind to tell me why you feel that way? I mean, there's no beef, right? At one time I got on him on a live stream, and I said something, offensive, I guess we could say. But then I sincerely apologized and said that I was in the wrong for doing so. So, I mean, it's like, well, what the hell you got against me, man? You know what I'm saying? I ask him that, and he doesn't know. He's just like, well, I don't like to talk to you. It's like, okay, well, are you even intelligent enough to know why? Or do you just repeat that because you got your feelings hurt? And he doesn't know. Say, hey, look, Flat Earth Boxer, that cat just got to grow some balls, man. Right? Grow a damn spine, right? And be a man. All right? And, join a podcast and let's debate the scriptures. Right? Or at least discuss the scriptures. Oh, if we go to, what is that scripture? If we go to, I believe it's 1 Peter chapter, 3 and verse 15, I believe. It says, to be ready always to give an answer for one who asked you a reason of your belief. Meaning what? If I asked you, why do you believe this or that in the scriptures? You should be able to have a dialogue with me to discuss why you believe that and why you believe my understanding is wrong. Right? So we should be able to have a civil discussion. Scriptures speak about contending for the faith. So how the hell can you contend for the faith if you're not even willing to have a discussion with somebody who sees the scriptures differently? Scriptures also say to debate your calls. That's a video for another time. But going back to what we're saying, man, I mean, it's very clear, okay, that we can't be living under the new covenant today. It's very clear because what we read about Jeremiah 31, verse 31 on down, Hebrews, the 8th chapter, we don't see that today. As I said, our people are out here trying to, chase that bag, man, right? Our people are out here doing drive-by shootings. That's what our people, you so-called Negroes, are out here doing, man. So how the hell could we be under the new covenant if it says that that in the new covenant that everyone from the smallest to the greatest will know the Lord? That's hypocrisy right there. That's nonsense, man. But those will be the same guys saying, well, let's keep it in context, right? Let's keep it into context. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. Let me see. Right, oh, and wait a second. How the hell could we be under the new covenant if, we're still here, with Babylon the Great? All right, and then you got that cat on there, Pastor William Bell. I believe his ministry is called, what is it, All Things Fulfilled Ministry or something like that. They teach that, that everything was fulfilled in 70 AD and that Christ is ruling the world today, which is just, that's ridiculous, man. In fact, I asked Elder Apostle Gabar, I asked Elder Apostle Tahar, which of course is sincere, shalom, and much respect is due to the Elder Apostle. But I asked him, hey man, well, what are your thoughts on this William Bell character? Or as my God will call him, this actor. And, Tahar was like, I already seen him. Man, I saw some of his videos. That guy, was a damn joke, is basically, what he was telling me. Right? I agree. I was watching, Sakari did a debate with William Bell. Just go on YouTube, look up Sakari versus William Bell debate. You'll see it. Watch the debate. I've watched the debate 7 times already. And I'm not even being sarcastic. That was such a great discussion. I might have to go watch it again after I do this video, man. Right? That was a very entertaining, but yet educational discussion. So I might have to watch that video for an 8th time. So you better go watch that, man. And tell me what you think. But it clearly disproves the point, man. Okay, that anybody, in, 2021, almost 2022, that's teaching that we're living in the kingdom, they're clearly out of their mind, man. But going back to the topic that we were speaking about, or I should say, I was speaking about, because I'm only on here by myself, it's very clear that we can't be living in the new covenant today. All right, it is true that the old covenant is waxing old and is beginning to vanish away, as it says in Hebrews, the 8th chapter. That's true, but it has not yet vanished away, because the key word, as it said, beginning, meaning it hasn't happened yet, but it's beginning to happen. All right, it's very simple, man. All right, but this is what these guys are doing, man. These guys are playing games. Right, guys are just, playing games, right? Or as ETT likes to say, these guys are, playing that damn Hebrew hopscotch, right? Or that, as Vocab Malone would say, or I should say what Vocab Malone is doing, right? That Christian shuffle, inside joke. But yeah, these guys are doing that Hebrew hopscotch, man. Right, tap dancing around those scriptures like the bottom half of Betty Ripson. Inside joke. But at the end of the day, man, look, at the end of the day, no matter what way you cut the cake, it's very clear that that we can't be living in a new covenant today. All right, it's very clear, man. All right, because why? By reading in context, as these guys are so hard about. You know what I'm saying? By reading in context, we can clearly prove that we can't be living in the new covenant, because it said what? The main point is it said what? That all should know the laws on their inward parts. That certainly hasn't happened today. And even those of us, like minded gods on there saying, oh, I'm saved. Which he could be part of the elect. That could be true. Because according to, according to Ephesians, the 4th the first chapter, the 4th verse on down, it says what? That the elect were ordained from the beginning of the world. So whoever is destined to be saved was chosen already before the world even began to be saved. All right? So really, the elect are truly chosen, right, and sealed. We don't know who those people are, right? We don't know. Okay, so that's a whole nother video. So I don't want to go off onto that. But it's very clear, man. But the point is, if these brothers believe that they're of the elect, even these guys who are teaching that, like Mind of God's on there saying that he was sealed on, what is it, January the 1st, something like that. Even if that was true, he can't even quote all the laws. So how could we be under the new covenant if we don't all know the laws on our inward parts? Just a bunch of nonsense, man. But that just shows you the foolery that we're dealing with out here, man. Okay, but anyway, I just wanted to share some, thoughts on that subject of discussion. If anybody made it this far into the video, go ahead and put hashtag covenant, excuse my stutter, in the comment section down below, and I'm going to say shalom.